country club, Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Ain't a country club, Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Okay, firstly, I gotta address apologetics. It doesn't make sense, I'm not sorry, I don't get it. The fact that he was crucified means that we're all indebted. We should demand to have a culture that doesn't soon forget it. Every knee shall bow, every tongue shall confess it. Christ is king, listen up, get the message. The time is short, the deception is impressive. The church itself is corrupted and wretched. They preach about grace, no righteousness expected. God gaze at the pulpit because their sin is accepted. The devil calls, they don't even try to reject it. They're employed by Satan, they are tax exempted. Ain't a country club, Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. Ain't a country club, Christian, I'm a zealot. Truth's gonna hurt, man, I ain't tryna sell it. And if you think you can refute it, you'll regret it. Cause that's the way it is, like it is, how I tell it. It's neither land of the free, nor is it home of the brave. When you got people here killing babies every day, and all the Christians here think
what is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Main Character Podcast, made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. I am Con. Thanks for being here, everybody. It's good to see ya. I'm gonna go straight to chat because tonight is a night of chat. Okay, tonight is gonna be all about some crazy, schizo, weirdo, crazy stuff that you guys have probably heard of, probably before me. You probably know more about it than I do, so perhaps I'll learn a little something from you guys tonight. But first things first, let's say hi to everybody for getting here. Let me kill this music all the way. It's like super distracting for me. It makes me just want to be like, okay, let's scroll back here a second and see who all is in here. I always like to say hi to the early birds, you know what I'm saying? Welcome on the crazy bus, everybody. The little season party bus is what we really technically ordained this thing to be, although technically it's not really the little season party bus. It's just a party bus taking place during the little season. That makes sense? I think that works. What is up, Cody? We got Cody in first. Wow, speedy. He even beat Wendy in here. Of course, we've got Wendy. Wendy is our resident captain of the Big Blimp and Party Blimp. So shout out. Shout out to Wendy for that one. Of course, we'll give the honorary, customary, you guys know what it is, the family. We're glad to see you guys here. So welcome to the Main Character Podcast. We also have Naomi Anderson. She says, please pray for me. I'm recovering from surgery I had in January. I keep swelling and lots of pain. All right, well, the power of the Cult of Con is to approach the Lord with prayer, right? We always say on this channel, you can't have the truth without the way, the truth, and the life, and that is Christ Jesus. And we know that God has the power to enact his will in the world, and we as his people have the power to translate that. So we will be praying for you, Naomi. We also have Charlie Nuclear. Welcome in, my friend. He says, pass the Kool-Aid this way. Yeah, I wish we could get a Kool-Aid sponsorship. I was thinking about it the other day, and what came to my mind is that we need to have our own, like, Sprite Kool-Aid crossover, because you guys know I'm obsessed with Sprite. It's like it's the only drink. As you guys know, there is only Sprite. So I don't even know what this mythical Kool-Aid is. I was actually joking. I think I was joking with Wendy the other day and basically saying that, like, at our, like, cult meeting hall place where everybody prepares for the Galactic Federation, we're all going to drink the poison Sprite. That's what this cult will be known for, the Sprite that killed everyone. What's up, Val? Welcome in, my friend. Good to see ya. Episode 45. Episode 45. Let's go. All right. Let's go. We got Samantha Fox. Good to see you, Sammy. We got Allison. We got Honkin. We got Honkin' Boots. I just learned about the Honkin' Boots today, so I was joking. I was like, Wendy, why didn't you tell me? Because apparently it was a typo, but that's totally going in the lexicon, as you guys know. All right, y'all. Are we caught up? Is this just our early birds? Oh, we got Mama Con. Ayo. Mama Con in the house. Let's go. We got Elizabeth, Rejoice Artworks. Good to see ya. Welcome in. We got Cage Fighter. I think we're like almost there. Oh, Blake Higgins, my friend. Welcome in. We got Amelia. We've got, okay, and we got Angela O in Texas. And we got Mr. Frag. Hey, peeps, eyes. Let's go. Yeah, this episode is going to exemplify everyone's impression that I'm a crazy person. I think that today will be the day that we finally decide, okay, that guy is unhinged, unsub. You guys can join the ranks of there was 1.884K like a week ago. Now there's 1.82K. So either 20 people got smart, they sobered up from the Sprite, and now they're on to some bigger and better thing, or YouTube is just deleting me. And you know what? I bet they are. And I will get to that. Obviously, subs being deleted is a thing. You know, we'll talk about it. But yeah, I think we got Gwen David. We got Steven. Oh boy, you gotta love it when it does that. Everybody who's like on here streams knows that it just arbitrarily goes, just like flies away. I saw Indigo. I saw Dojo. I saw Miles, Steven, Jenny Murphy. We got Pearl. I saw you, Pearl. We got Peter Hamlet. It looked like, you see what it tried to do? It tried to get you guys skipped. Like YouTube tried to skip over you by speed scrolling and effectively nullifying the party bus is like filling up. You know how it is. If you're late to the bus, you got to get the back of the bus. So we got everybody, right? I think we got them all, right? Yeah. Oh, Paulie follows. Jesus, my friend. Paul, it's good to see you, my friend. Welcome in. All right, I think we got it. We are up to date. Oh, we got Conspiracy to Christ, still Prill. People are saying hi, Redstorm. Oh, what's up, Redstorm? Good to see ya. Welcome in. Andy plays some games. Man, I can't even keep up with y'all. I guess now that we're on, it's on. You know what I mean? It's on like Donkey Kong. Okay. With that being said, I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on y'all. So, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we got Ceiling Fan Man. He says he'll sit in the back of the bus. Yeah, 8 minutes late. Tisk. You know, I always used to sit in the back of the bus on purpose because you get farther away from the bus driver, allowing you to commit more crime and villainy. Standing up while the bus goes over the speed bumps. Let's go. All right, y'all, check it out. I'm going to go pull the bus in here. We're pulling in. We're rolling. And we're pulling up right here. And we have arrived at Shilltown, population me. And as you guys know, I am a shill? I don't know what I'm trying to say. And check it out though, okay? First things first, I want to give a shout out to all of our wonderful patrons on patreon.com/thecultofcon who help to power this channel. That includes food, car parts, French fries apparently. I know that's food, but there was a specific discussion regarding French fries. So that's a thing. But yes, thank you guys so much for being part of this and making this possible. If you guys are interested at all, this is the Cult of Con on Patreon, and we do have some, things I try to release, Patreon specific content all the time, but obviously I don't do it all the time because I'm a very busy man. But we did recently drop the 2012 performance of my hardcore screamo band from that era, Whispers of Wonder, and we had a great time back then. This is actually our very first show. I should have included that in the description. This was the last night with my factory nose. After this, it was remanufactured. There's actually a story to be told about that. I guess I could cover that really quick and say, this night, actually, I had a nice normal nose. And then after the show, I was headbutted in the face by this guy who came up to me. He was like, yo, let me get a picture with you, bro. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And he headbutted me in the face, like broke my nose. And I had to get like reconstructive surgery. And ever since then, it's pretty good. I think it cost something like 12 grand. My parents know. They had to pay for it. Good Lord. But yeah, I mean, I'd say for 12 grand, she's a pretty good looking nose, don't you think? All the better to smell you with, my dear. Anyway, so that's what's going on over there on Patreon. And then if you're interested at all, we also have the merchandise store we call the Cock Store, the COC, Cult of Cons store. And we have, kind of general designs provided by Teespring. This is the early game. This is what you have. I really would love to get to a point where we could do like dedicated merchandise production, like what JT's got going, because that shirt that I got from JT was awesome. It's a high quality shirt and a really nice high quality print. So since we're in Shilltown, I'll shill for my friends too. Why not? All right. I think that's that. I think we've got that underway. Popping back over here to the chat, and where did my chat go? This is like a problem. You know what? I was thinking about this the other day. I need a bigger monitor. So I think the lovely patrons on patreon.com/thecultofcon are paying for a monitor. I think we're getting a monitor with show budget, so I can have like a bigger screen, so I can actually see what's going on. Because like the current setup is largely thrown together, so we'll try to see if we can improve the quality of that a little bit. But with that being said, guys, it's great to have y'all here. I feel like every 15 episodes I allow myself to kind of just cut loose and say whatever I'm gonna say, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna end up on Patreon as like a YouTube, like a banned video, because that has happened the last two like number 15 and number 30 are both like Patreon only, because I just crossed the line with them and I couldn't keep them up on YouTube. They were getting copyright. I was getting I didn't actually get a strike or anything. They didn't get banned. Maybe that's like the wrong verbiage. Like I'm trying to sell you something that it's not. But the point is, like, you can't talk about Black Jesus, and you can't talk about the nation of Israel, and you can't talk about there's just certain things you can't say, okay? And I did that 2 times. And so on a day like today, I'm feeling the vibe of like, well, it can't be that bad. I've watched people do and say things on YouTube in the last like month and a half that had me thinking that you could almost do whatever you want as long as the wrong person doesn't see it. And then that ties into exactly what we're talking about today, which is that the wrong people might be seeing what it is you're doing, what it is I'm doing. And it's kind of funny. It's like I always talk about, oh, here we are, the Cult of Con. We're on the cutting edge of conspiracy content. And then I bring up stuff that was like broken on the internet like 15 or 20 years ago at least. It's like, oh, targeted individuals, right? Like, what does that even mean? For me, personally, the concept is not new at all, but I had never heard the terminology that people were using. So, as you guys know, a targeted individual is a person who identifies as a target of like a malicious organization, a malicious government, spy programs, stalkers, demons, okay? So it's essentially an idea that you are somehow, it's actually born out of what society would call intense narcissism and or schizophrenic mental illness. So you have people who, the symptoms list is ongoing, right? You have people who like, they have hallucinations of, perhaps hallucinations of being gang stalked by organized groups who follow them around with vehicles or stalk them in person, following them around, doing things to their property, their pets, their neighbors, whatever, and that's just the gang stalking element. But then you have even more sophisticated things I learned about while researching it, like this one thing they call V2K, which is apparently technology that allows them to use electromagnetic wavelengths to stimulate the transistors in your mind that create the auditory stimulation. So like your eardrums, they hear a noise, the vibration travels, that turns into a synapse in your brain. They can duplicate the synapse and make you hear things that aren't even really there. You hear with your ears noise, but it's not really there. Super crazy stuff. And I like that they call it V2K because it reminds me a lot of Y2K. And there's so many things about this, right? Like this one girl was talking about how in 2003, the budget for MI5 in the United Kingdom doubled. And of course, that's 2 years after the 9/11 attacks in the United States, where we got the whole Patriot Act and the entire NSA was constructed, this whole national spying apparatus. I know it's not called that, but what was it really, right? And so you can see why, I'm this kind of person who I see something on the surface and I love it. I'm not in the community of targeted individuals, at least. I mean, maybe I am now, I don't know. But I didn't know that there was like a movement of people who think they're under attack. And like I said, the attacks are not limited to just stalkers or like mind melting. They have like crazy mind reading technologies and microwave attacks on organs and on body parts, and like people who have like their neck hurts or their belly hurts, or like, yeah, it's just, if you heard this on the surface, right, it would sound completely unhinged. Like some people act like they can hear broadcasting of signals being sent by people, and sometimes they claim to hear the people managing the equipment, right? So there'll be broadcasted voices that say weird stuff to them, like trying to drive them crazy, like it's the voices inside your head. But they'll know that it's not crazy because sometimes it'll stop and they'll hear people messing with microphones and talking about the program. So it's like they're getting the feedback of the actual laboratory where some crazed lab operator is like plugging in cords and like feeding you radio broadcasts into your skull. Like, oh my goodness. So it's wild, and I started looking into it because honestly, even though I know I'm gonna sound insane and maybe narcissistic and whatever, dude, at this point, I think that I might be one of them. One of these targeted individuals, okay? And of course, it's par for the course. He's got a show called The Main Character. He's unhinged. So I'm not over here trying to convince you that a guy called Con Man on a channel called The Cult of Con, I don't think that he's probably the first candidate for like a sane person. So I think it's okay to believe that if anybody really was crazy and just made it up, it's probably me. Okay. All right. I'll take it. The first thing. All right, if you're one of these people, if you haven't heard of this thing, you're vilified like straight out the gate. So like if you're one of these people who talks about this thing, that's like, I always try to talk about stuff you're not allowed to talk about, especially level 15, because this is going to be all about just totally, it goes deep, man. It's a deep rabbit hole, and I'm just now digging in. So like you guys probably know, I'm sure some of you guys have heard about this whole phenomenon, but oh, I'm a little bit behind on chat. Sorry, guys. All right. Steven's like, Anne Frank, AI girlfriend? Ask her how she wrote her diary with a ballpoint pen that wasn't yet invented. I know I'm not allowed to say that, but I don't care. Level 45. Val says, cell phones and computers all have cameras and microphones. It's easy surveillance. Nano is at the bio level. Freya says, I'm getting the babies ready for bed, so I'm listening on the sidelines. Right on. Awesome. I'll try not to scream profanity or the N-word or whatever it's going to be. I was just joking. I was going to say earlier, I was going to pretend to be like, hey, yo, Sam, I'm about to go live, bro. Yes, don't scream the N-word out loud like we always do. Oh, shoot, I'm live. What's up, guys? Like, I thought that'd be a good one. Anyway. Oh, man, Wendy's got so much good stuff. VMAT2 Gene. Oh, wait a minute. Does that have something to do with the VK2? Or V2K, I mean? Interesting. So, essentially what we're talking about and what Val's saying is, if you watch a bunch of these supposed targeted individuals, they actually sound and look insane, probably MK Ultra bots. I think this ties into exactly what I'm getting at, right? So the idea is that on the surface, like anything else, right? You guys all saw the when you went to the Flat Earth Society back in 2012, because we didn't even know anyone who believed that the world was flat. Like we always just knew that it was a ball flying through space at 660,000 miles an hour or whatever it is. Don't quote me on it, okay? At this point, I don't care to know the details. I just know it's crazy, all right? I'm the guy who knows crazy. It takes one to know one. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is that there was a point in my life where I heard that people believed the earth was flat, and I was like, what? That's so insane. What? That doesn't make any sense. And so I went to the Flat Earth Society, and you guys all probably saw this. I'm going to show you. We don't have to even guess here. There is an image. Oh, it's one of these. Let's go. I love it. Check it out. See, like these ones where it's like in space, but it has like ice on it, and it's like a disc in space. So I remember back in the day, like this kind, where it's like an asteroid or whatever, like it's like a meteor with an Earth on the face of it, because they just couldn't get away from the outer space thing. Like, nobody realized that this was a twofold conspiracy where it's not just the shape of it, it's what the entire universe looks like. The entire dimension of the physical realm is completely fabricated by these people. Anyway, you land on the Flat Earth Society, and you'd get a picture like this, and the first thing you'd think was, nope, dumb, these people are retarded, I'm out of here. And so you leave that alone, because you'd say, only the dumbest people I've ever seen would believe that. And that's because it's not a cosmology. It's just like a straw man, right? We always talk about controlled opposition and like how people create these like effectively fake arguments on behalf of a thought movement to discredit the movement. Not that the people in the movement are affected by the same liars lying again. That's not the issue. The issue is there's people who hear about these ideas in passing, and they get these ideas like, what in the heck? And it's kind of like the pee drinking thing. You know, I made a whole episode about it, and I was kind of clowning on it, but I also was trying to kind of make the point that these things sound crazy, but we don't actually know if we're not willing to talk about it and look into it and listen to it. And I actually have somebody that I've been talking to. I don't think that she'd be willing to talk about it on the show, but I've been talking to someone who's kind of got a bit of research into the urine therapy thing, who wants to share with me a thing or two about what she actually knows about it. I'm very interested in that. I like to know things, whether they apply to me or not. I'm curious. And when it came to this whole idea of targeted individuals, I found for once something that I felt like, you know, as crazy as I seem, if I agree and embrace the idea, oh, I'm unhinged or whatever, that's fine. But just hear me out for a minute, and I think you guys will understand. I took some notes today because I was ranting about it, and I wanted to share with you guys some of the insights that I had. The first example I would say is like what we talked about in the beginning, is that people are thought of as crazy, just like with this flat earth thing. So generally, if somebody were to say they heard voices in their head, or they felt that they were being stalked by random people. And the biggest argument, I think, against the validity of these claims is that these people have never done anything, right? Like, my brother was saying this, and I think it's a fair point to make, but you'll notice that the people who call themselves targeted individuals, they're usually, like, not someone important. And I'm not trying to take away from, like, the biblical, spiritual importance of an individual. There's obviously... That's a different thing. I'm talking about people who don't have anything society wants. You know what I mean? Like, unless you're some sort of a big fish, what's the point of stalking you? What's the point of wasting government resources to torture you and mess with you and whatever? You see, it seems very nonsensical, right? Okay. They got money to blow, that's all they need, says Mikasi. I think that's a great point. And then at the same time, right, we've talked about in the past, so like money's not even real. So all we're talking about is just like energy transferring. Energy is never lost. It's only ever transferred into another form. So these guys, like whatever, we work, we get money, and then money could be transferred into something else, right? And that's kind of the point, right? These people are, they're thought of as insane or narcissistic for some reason because they're making claims that the world perceives as unreal, unbelievable, and nonsense, which is kind of like what we saw with Flat Earth community, right? These claims were being made and they looked crazy. So you saw an asteroid with an Earth surface on it. Let's just refer to this one more time. You saw this kind of crap and you were like, well, that's not what it is. And you might have been inclined to just throw the whole thing away and not look at it again. But what I'm implying is that image, this right here, that's not the representation of what people who are flat earth thinkers, believers, community, that's not what they think it looks like. Nobody thinks that. I don't think there's a single person who actually claims that flat earth is their belief system that thinks it looks like that. Like there's a space disc with ice on it, and you could fall off the side. You know, everybody's favorite debunk. Like, if the earth was flat, then cats would push everything off the side. Like, they're so creative. Oh, I should have thought of that. I should have known. The point is, if you look at it for what it's presented as, it looks freaking crazy, right? Like, oh, great. A bunch of nonsensical, narcissistic people who think they're so important that the government has to spy on them. And not only that, not only the government has to spy on them, they're devoting resources to inventing magic technologies to, like, use to torture you. Maybe. You know, maybe they are. I used to think that it was impossible for stuff like that to be happening. I used to think it was impossible that the government was run by like a multi-generational cult criminal mafia that dates back thousands of years. Like, I used to think America was like land of the free. You know what I'm saying? One sec. Okay. I got some water, don't worry. Show must go on. Okay. Anyway, I think that it's really simple, right? Like, it's very simple. Like Mikasi says, it's tech from post World War II Project Paperclip. Yeah, right. So, and that's a good point that should be discussed, is that we're talking about technology to produce the kinds of effects that these people are talking about. It's totally a possibility, right? Well, like, we're not saying that it's a certainty, but if somebody told you they heard voices in their head and they were like, I swear I'm not crazy. There's like feedback and people. There's like workers talking about stuff, and then they plug it in. You can hear the feedback, and then there's a signal. They're like, dude, I'm not crazy. I mean, it sounds crazy, right? If somebody were to say that to you, you'd think they were crazy. But there is literally physical technology and stuff that's capable of it. So I wanted to talk about a couple of the elements of this, and I like to talk about first of all, like, fictional examples. So there's a movie, I'm sure you guys have seen it. Let me pull it up really quick. So this movie, let's see, a 2008 film starring Shia LaBeouf called Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is a 2008 American action thriller film directed by D.J. Caruso from a screenplay by John Glenn. La 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 la. Oh, it also features Billy Bob Thornton, my detached uncle cousin guy or something. That'd be so funny. Oh, you're related to that guy? Shill alert. Well, he does look like me. We look identical. Here, let me switch to the other screen share so you can see that he and I are the same. What about I turn this way? I don't know if I'm making the same face or not. I'm sorry. Okay, so Stanford University dropout Jerry Shaw learns that his identical twin brother Ethan, conveniently enough, an officer in the U.S. Air Force, has been killed in a car crash. Following the funeral, he's surprised to find a large sum of money in his bank account and his apartment filled with firearms and bomb-making materials. Jerry receives a phone call from a woman who warns that the FBI is about to arrest him and he needs to run. Disbelieving the voice, he's caught by the FBI and interrogated by supervising agent Tom Morgan. While Morgan confers with the Air Force OSI, blah, 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 they're going to read. This is going to be the entire plot of the movie. Can we not get the entire plot? Isn't the summary supposed to give you like a short? Like, isn't there supposed to be like a short summary of the plot? Long story short, this guy finds out that he's being gang-stalked by the government. Wow. So it's literally a movie about an advanced surveillance apparatus being deployed against an individual for a reason. In this case, they think he's involved in what his brother was involved in, and or they're trying to frame him for it. In fact, I think they framed him. I think they killed his brother, but then to make sure there wasn't any repercussions, they have to get rid of him too. I guess maybe they didn't know about him or something. It's been a long time, right? 2008. That was like my freshman year of high school, just to give everybody an idea of how old I am. Somewhere in there, okay? And yeah, I don't remember the details, except for the point of the movie is to get you to see how in this film it's possible for the government to spy on you using the CCTV cameras and the dash cams of moving cars and tracking you with cell phones and with the audio from other people's cell phones, vocal recognition, facial recognition. And this was back in 2008, and if you talked about those concepts, vocal and facial recognition, it would sound like very space age. Well, they don't really have that. The government doesn't have that kind of technology. Yo, you better believe the government has that kind of technology. They deployed it during the 2020 situation, right? People know they were facial recognizing people on street cameras and stuff. Crazy. Jenny Murphy's like Paperclip, MK Ultra, Monroe / Gateway Tapes, Gate Program, targeted individuals, all related, and other programs. Yeah, so it's like you guys, we know. It's like it's all part of the same pyramid. The conspiracy, as vast as it is, as difficult to quantify as it is, I almost think that's part of the game, right? Make the conspiracy, make the lie so huge that no one can ever unravel it. Every layer of everything is a lie. And then it's like, you just seem unhinged, right? That's so crazy. And I know a lot of people are on this and understand that, okay, so like Still Prill says, enemy of the state. Let's pull that one up. Hold on here. I got to get back to my main tab. I've seen this movie, I'm sure, but I definitely saw this one as a kid. So I don't remember it exactly. This is Enemy of the State. This is Will Smith, Gene Hackman. Let's talk about it. The film stars Will Smith as a labor lawyer who becomes the target of a covert surveillance operation after unwittingly receiving evidence of a political assassination. Ah, so this is what I needed, right? We talked about with the first example that it was because he was connected to someone that they gang stalked him in the Eagle Eye film. But if we look at Enemy of the State, it wasn't because of who he knew, it's because of what he knew, right? So now we got multiple reasons. It's all fiction, right? We're just talking about fiction here, but we're talking about a narrative, right? So a guy who was related to someone or too close to someone who knew something, and that made him a target. And then in this film here, The Enemy of the State, Will Smith becomes the target because he's unwittingly in possession of evidence. He didn't even mean to. It's not even what he knew. It's what he didn't even know he had. He was in possession of something, maybe not knowing what it was or how valuable it was. Kind of reminds me of the whole Millennial Kingdom thing. Tartaria, right? You have it, but you don't even know what it is. And then you're like, oh, man. Jesus Christ's earthly kingdom? What? Mind blown. Exactly. This is great. Everyone's subbing up to Half Truths. My boy, Half Truths, I don't know where he's at on here right now. But yeah, people are jumping on the subscription train. Because he and I are supposed to have some talks about some of this stuff pretty soon. You guys will probably meet him soon, Half Truths. So let's go. Back to what we were looking at. Okay, so aside from here, we'll park here for a second. I gotta move to the next example. I gave you guys the one example. We got one from you guys. So far, so good. I'm loving it. It's examples in fiction, right? So we've got movies and stuff. Okay, another example is the movie Sniper with Mark Wahlberg. And that's a 2007 film. So actually really cool. Like this is all like, this is an era, dude, for sure. Okay, Shooter, 2007. Force Recon snipers, they're working, This guy's a high-level operator, right? And basically what ends up happening is they ask him for help to basically fake an assassination attempt on the president, with the point being that they're trying to prevent it from happening, right? They recruit him as like a spec op, and he's supposed to do it. But then what happens is they frame him and they actually kill the president, or I guess the president's guest, the Ethiopian Archbishop Desmond Mutombo, the president's guest. And then an officer on Johnson's payroll shoots Swagger, who's the sniper guy, and tries to chase down, Wahlberg and catch him. And the long story short is that they basically try to frame this guy, and then he escapes, like he gets away. So there's another example, right? This is the patsy. He's another reason why you would be gang stalked, because they brought you into the fold to do something, and you either rolled on the deal or failed to do the job, or they were trying to clean you up afterwards and you just didn't want to go down. So here's another reason to gang stalk a guy, right? Shooter, 2007 film. We've got another example, and I like to bring up in this conversation. The first guy that comes to my mind is the Bourne films, like the Jason Bourne franchise here. Action thrillers. It's yet another example, this time featuring Matt Damon. Bourne Identity 2002, Bourne Supremacy 2004, Bourne Ultimatum 2007, Jason Bourne 2016. Oh, Bourne Legacy 2012. See, so we've got like, 4 or 5 films, and this is yet another example of a high-level operator, someone who knew too much, and because of that, the government, specifically in this case, the government is trying to stalk the guy and get him. So, what does that mean, right? I think that the Bourne movies are a great example of it. I think that there are many, many examples. We could do this all day. Like, I'm sure you guys know other movies where it's like this, where somebody knew too much and then they were hunted down for what they knew. I'm sure if I just sat here and thought about it for a minute, I could find more examples. And of course, you could expand mediums. You can find TV shows that are like this. You could find books, especially. I like to think about Tom Clancy You guys know about Tom Clancy's stuff? Tom Clancy's done like Splinter Cell and like Rainbow Six, and then all kinds of books and comics and things have stemmed from his creativity. And all of that is based on the idea of like spooks and secret government organizations that spy on people with advanced technology and logistics. And it's all just part of that same network of like spy movie stuff that's really interesting and generally believed to be fiction. But when we look at real life, we find real life examples of this stuff taking place. And I like to think of what you can get, like low hanging fruit, right? So you guys remember that 70s show, the character Hyde on that 70s show, and you guys know he was like busted. Danny Masterson is his name. It was escaping me, but I got there. We got it. So Danny Masterson, as you know, it's gonna quickly say, right? See, they keep your stuff up to date here, right? In May 2023, Masterson was convicted of essaying 2 women in 2003. A third count of rape resulted in a hung jury. I guess I just said the word. Whatever. I'm reading it off the internet. He was sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. Okay, so this guy who's a real creep. There's definitely stories about this, and I've seen more research, and it's worth looking into. But essentially, Masterson is a Scientologist, as were his victims at the time of the assaults. The Church of Scientology's attempts to silence the victims and subsequent interference resulted in a 20-year delay in bringing the crimes to justice. So let's talk about this. They're not going to say the name of the lady, and I'm not going to dig too far into it, but it's like I said, if you guys want to know the story about this, you are welcome to dig deeper into Danny Masterson and the trial and the cases involving him. But the long story short is there's this girl, right? And she was his girlfriend for a time. She had moved into the city. I think they were in LA. I could be wrong. Again, don't kill me on the details. This is just how I remember. I'm just recapping. So basically this girl, she kind of moved to the big city, right? And she met him at a party. She was trying to get into the action, becoming an actor or whatever. She wanted to be a star. People do this. They think that's how it works, so they move to the city and they try to make it. And this girl met him at a party, and it quickly turned into like, oh, we have a relationship. And then she moved into his house because she didn't know anybody, and she was, and she probably liked him. Is probably really like, woo, this is so fun. A big city now. I got a hot actor as a boyfriend. Who's like, and so it's like turning into a thing for her. Well, it turns out he's freaking crazy. And I'm not talking about this kind of crazy. I'm talking about this guy's a freak, man. And I'm talking about a Diddy kind of freak. And so this guy, he gets her in this kind of terrible situation where she's kind of like trapped at his house and doesn't really have anywhere else to go and doesn't know anybody. And so she's like relying on him for everything. And basically what ends up happening is he like drugs her and assaults her and stuff. And like he acts like he owns her like property. And he got her into the Scientism church and everything as part of their relationship. And so all this starts happening, and she knows that she's in a bad place and eventually gets out of there, right? The long story short. And basically what ends up happening is she gets a new boyfriend sometime later, and the new boyfriend hears and learns the stories about what this guy did, like drugging her and assaulting her in her sleep and stuff. And he's like, dude, what the hell? Like, why didn't you tell anybody? That's a crime. Like, this guy's bad. And so she getting support from her new boyfriend, realizes like, oh man, I gotta do something. So she goes to report him, right? She goes to try to bring him to justice for the crimes he's committed. And she opened a whole can of worms with the Church of Scientology. Because he's a member of that sect of the Masonic cult or whatever it is, they protect him, right? And the long story short is that they basically, they tried to cover it up, right? They tried to handle it internally. They tried to get her to do what they wanted. And when she refused, it started turning into what she described as a gang stalking situation, where members, agents of the Scientology church were like spying on her openly, like doing it just to freak her out, not just to keep tabs on her, which I'm sure they were doing, but according to her testimony, they would do things to her, including, I think, effectively poisoning at least 1 or 2 dogs to death. They killed her pets. So in a way it was like, are you going to drop the lawsuit? Oh no, your dog's dead. Who could have done it? And that's how this whole gang stalking thing works, right? Because who's going to believe, I mean, I guess maybe in the case of Scientology, maybe that's the perfect example, right? Because for normal people, you'd say, oh, an organization that has agents that stalk people, that's so dumb. Nobody would ever do that. But everybody knows that the Church of Scientology is freaking crazy and would do that. And why, too? Because they don't want to look bad. They don't want their people getting accosted. It's a cult. A real cult. So The point I'm trying to make is this is a real life example of actual organized, orchestrated gang stalking of an individual who became a nobody. Like, I'm not trying to diss on her, but in the eyes of Hollywood and fame and whatever, she's a no one. She was not famous. She came to the city to try to make it. And now it's not happening. I don't know what's become of her now, but I mean, this whole traumatic situation, she's probably locked out of Hollywood. She'd never get an acting gig after stirring up stuff with Danny Masterson and the thing. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to be in prison. Of course he does. I'm just saying the way they view things is if you come after their club, they're after you. And I think that makes sense. I think this is a fair example because it shows us that we've got actual crazed, money, power, agent-filled organizations. And again, we talked about the impression you're meant to have. Like when the flat earth people came out, it wasn't flat earth people who put up the straw man of the asteroid with the earth's surface on it. That was controlled opposition to make them look bad. So when you see examples of like real life gang stalking and stuff, and the people are meant to look crazy, that's the point. The whole reason that they make people look crazy for believing stuff like this can happen is so that when they're actually doing it goes under the rug. She couldn't call people and say, I'm being gang stalked by a cult organization, and people would be like, you might need to go talk to someone. I think you should talk to someone. Which, in other words, is an opportunity for you to be drugged and labeled insane by some person who's educated by the system. Like somebody who is a good follower of their education program, of their programming, right? They will then instruct you to take drugs and announce on paper that you're crazy. That's the solution to being gang stalked by Scientologists? Be labeled schizophrenic and punished with drugs? Man, that is crazy. So it's like example after example. I see Wendy's talking about Waco. Waco is another good example, right? Because whether or not it's a real situation, like what they say was happening, which actually I've got good reason to believe that was another where they like controlled the opposition. They brought that whole thing down. They turned it into something it wasn't and then killed everybody in a fire. What a monstrous, crazy takedown. That is crazy. But again, like there's examples all day of real life situations where people were essentially like made to look crazy, gaslit, but they were actually being gang stalked. They actually were a targeted individual. So right off the bat, you know, when I looked into this stuff and it's like, oh, targeted individuals, like what does that even mean? You know, I was like, I'm calling BS. Those people are schizophrenic or narcissistic. But then I realized schizophrenic is what they label you because they don't want to explain what's really going on, right? So, because it is my belief, and people will find this controversial to say it, but I don't think that much mental illness is anything other than demonic possession and or oppression. So if you're like schizophrenic and hearing voices, that's demons, bro. Like what Brian from Demon Rays would say, demons, bro. Like, I think that makes sense. But like, what if it's not demons? You know, because if you can't call it demons, like if it's not demons, if it's technology, then it's gang stalking. It's monitoring, remote monitoring. I think that's what they call it. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing that makes you seem crazy, is that you're talking about remote monitoring and stuff that's like sci-fi tech being used on you. And that's the argument, right? You're nobody. This girl was nobody, but she tore up the rug, you know what I mean? She started something that she didn't mean to, and she couldn't finish it. And then the Church of Scientology wanted her freaking dead or disappeared or something, right? So there are real life examples. And then I want to talk about now the idea of like spiritual examples. And I think that that's a perfect segue there when talking about it's demons, bro. Because literally, how could we get so confused about reality? How could we become so blind to the reality that we're living in a multi-dimensional war right now, where an archon, like Jesus Christ even says, we wage war not with flesh and blood, but with the rulers and the principalities, the archons in high places, basically Satan and demons, bro. Not just Danny Masterson and his friends in the Church of Scientology, Satan and demons, bro. And so what I'm getting at is that, like, of course, the idea that you're being stalked, it's a perfect example, right? Who do you serve in the world? Do you live a life of selfish servitude? Do you hate your neighbor? Do you hate your brother? Or have you resigned yourself, resolved yourself, this new life resolution that you're going to follow Christ, serve Christ, be born again, a new creation? Well, now you are at war with an interdimensional corporation called Satan. Okay, and they don't like you. So what? If everybody's always trying to say, well, you're not important, you're not special. Why would they follow you? Obviously, because you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And everybody's like, well, how would they know? Jesus Christ says, I knew you before the foundation of the earth. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, he knew you. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and not a thing was made except through him. He knew you. And I can tell you right now, there's a great possibility that Satan knew you too, that you knew him. Because before the carnal experience, we were endless spiritual beings together in eternity. And what is that? Satan knows who you are, and he knows who you serve. The beginning and the end, just like Jesus, because the story of time is a temporal thing. Eternity is decided. Is your name written in the book of life? Can Satan not crack the pages and read? I don't know, you tell me. But if you're wondering if you're being stalked by demons because you belong to the King of Kings, no duh. Jesus Christ tells us to gird up our loins, to put on the full armor of God, to stand against the devil and his schemes. What schemes are those? Oh, he makes food make you sick. That's all. He sprays chemicals in the air to make you sick. Okay, but what does that do? That doesn't mess with my resolve. I will eat poison. I will drink chemicals. I don't care. Because if it's God's will, I will go into that furnace and I won't burn. So that's the issue here, right? We're talking about a multi-dimensional battle with an enemy that is evil and advanced and powerful and intelligent with technology and secrets, and they hate you. So, why would you be targeted? There's a good reason right there. So we talked about 3 different examples: fiction, reality, and even spirituality that makes sense why people would be targeted, what they would be targeted for, and what they would do to someone who is targeted. And the example that I always like to think of is the late, great Bill Cooper, which you guys know, Milton William Cooper. I mean, he's the man who predicted his own death at the hands of the deep state. Right? And you guys know I'm the first one to say, man, don't trust anything that anybody tells you. Don't trust the stories, right? Don't believe the narrative about people that died. Because I will say, they all fake their deaths. It's all to sell records and t-shirts. Like, most of these people have an exit strategy planned before they even get made into a public figure. There's a wall there. It's like a theater troupe, and you've got to be in it, right? Like what's his name's escaping me. It's a secret club. It's an elite special club, and you ain't in it, right? It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Anyway, so Bill Cooper, obviously, he was a great man. He was a great researcher. You can say what you want about him being controlled op. Maybe he was. Maybe the message to sell to the people was that if you get too close, if you learn too much, they'll kill you. So maybe you should keep your nose out of their business. That's what I would say. If he was a controlled op, he served that purpose. But I tend to believe this guy was real, man. This guy suffered for the cause. This guy worked hard to reveal what he believed was the real truth about the control scheme that runs our world. And he was big on aliens, which, as we know, aliens are just another name for, right, angels, whatever, ancient angels. Like, Trish, she's like, better not fake your death to sell more t-shirts, you shill. That's a good one. Oh, you guys are great. Shawnee B says, the party bus. Oh, the con bus. Okay. All right. The con bus. Honk, honk. I'll give a honk. We didn't even get our halfway honk. We're already over the first hour. I'm going to have to run like a double episode or something to talk about all this. It's like one of the biggest rabbit holes of all time. Holy crap. So, okay, hold on. Still Pearl says, he said that he was deceived about the aliens by the military. Right. I was thinking about Cooper, and it made me think of Phil Schneider, I think is his name. Is that his name? He was another guy, the Dolce base, and all that. And he was basically the one who said that they wouldn't let him say the name of Jesus while he was down there in the underground facility and stuff. And it's like, let's just say he was telling the truth. Why wouldn't they want you to say the name of Jesus around aliens? Unless it was actually true that there's power in his name and stuff, right? They don't want to cause problems. Don't say that guy's name in their presence. I don't know. He could be full of crap. He was also mysteriously died. Like with Bill Cooper, there's no mystery here about what happened. He was killed by the government. Okay, like it's a long story short. He basically predicted that it would happen one day because he would not go quietly. He was in an accident with a limousine on a motorcycle where he had to have his leg removed because he was injured. I'm learning this today. I didn't even know this. And basically what happened was they came supposedly to his hospital bed or his recovery area and said to him, "Have you learned your lesson about what you're doing out here?" And he was, of course, like, "Yes, I did. I'm sorry." And then, of course, as soon as he got the chance, he continued pushing forward like a savage, which is what you're supposed to do, you know? But then the idea is, were they gang stalking him? Were they stalking him and then hit him with a limousine on his motorcycle? Like, if you were trying to take a guy out who's on a motorcycle, what vehicle would be the best to do it with? A limo. It's, really hard to miss. You, pull out in front of him with a really long car. He has nowhere to go. Okay, maybe I'm on some Looney Tunes shit, but in my brain, dude, if I was trying to hit a guy on a motorcycle, a bus or a limo is the one. That's the vehicle of choice. Jay says, if you listen to all of Bill Cooper's episodes of The Hour of the Time, you would have a hard time calling him controlled op, and his breakdown of 2001: A Space Odyssey is epic. Jay's totally right. I have not gotten the opportunity to listen to all of Bill Cooper's material, but he has said and done things over the course of his career that were super compelling and literally groundbreaking for conspiracy theory researchers. The what we call the cutting edge today only exists because he was the anvil that forged it. That's literally what somebody like him. He's basically a grandfather of conspiracy theory of the modern age. But effectively, he's murdered by the feds for whatever reason and dies on his front porch just kind of like he knew he would, you know. And and that to me tells me yet another real life example and a valuable example, right? Because this is a guy who was driven to the absolute extreme. According to the Wikipedia, Beth Fisher asks, what year was he around? According to this, it says he was born May 6, 1943, and he died November 5, 2001. Oh my goodness. That's that's less than 30 days after 9/11, dude. That's a little bit spooky right there. But his book, Pale Horse, Behold a Pale Horse, was 1995. So his probably main rise, let's see, he was known for his 1991 book, Behold a Pale Horse. Oh, okay, so why they get the answers wrong? He was killed in 2001 by sheriff's deputies after he shot at them during an attempted arrest. And that's because they probably came, he has some great ideas. He described HIV/AIDS as a man-made disease used to target certain individuals. And I totally believe that, dude. He says a cure was made before it was implemented. Yeah, the thing about diseases is they don't naturally occur. I don't even care what anyone says. You could tell me, okay, maybe that's medical misinformation. But the fact of the matter is I've seen them on electron microscopes. They're little machines. Viral particles are evil, stuff like that. This breakdown, it's a creation. It's a poison. This guy's probably right. Imagine the power of that. You're telling people that their AIDS is fake. Imagine telling people that AIDS was fake. Oh, man. Anyway, Pearl says, how come I've never heard about this guy? I live under a rock. Well, obviously they don't want you to know about him, Pearl. But here's the thing. I felt like I was living under a rock today when I learned about the concept of targeted individuals, which is what we've been talking about tonight. And because I did not know that there was a name for it. I did not know there was a demographic of people who identified as it. And I didn't know that there was an extreme group that call themselves chosen ones. And they think that it's actually it's actually about how holy they are, and that it kind of ties into what I was saying about it's demons, bro, and that the idea is that they're targeted by demons because they're actually some kind of a chosen holy person from the kingdom or whatever. Maybe. Who knows, dude? We can't know this stuff, at least not without looking, right? You have to do a little looking. I guess my voice is kind of crapping out. I don't know. It's gang related. It's targeting. They're targeting my vocal cords with infrareds or whatever. They're trying to crush me. Oh, that's so funny. Beth Fisher says, Histories written by the victors in response to Wendy saying, Big Brother gets to tell whatever story they want since they got rid of the problem. Right. Isn't that crazy? Yo, David, welcome in, my friend. He says, hey, peeps, I banned myself from watching stuff on my phone for a while, but still been listening to your awesome shows, Con Man. Just popping in to drop a honk honk for my homies. Dude, it's good to see you. I know it's like the middle of the night over there, so it's awesome that you made your way over here tonight, brother. It's good to see you, man. Thanks for being here. Well, okay. The point being is that I think that it's not only possible, it's probably likely that there are a lot of people being targeted. And it sounds crazy, but it's like I said in the beginning, the budgets, right? So they killed off Bill Cooper in 2001, shortly after 9/11, or he disappeared. He went away. His character no longer on the scene, right? Everything happened that year, dude. There's this thing they talk about in the targeted individuals group called V2K, which is this supposed technology that allows them to, like I described earlier, beam indirectly into your brain noises, audio, voices, right? There are so many people who go crazy, like saying they heard voices and they like murder people and do crazy stuff. And I'm inclined to say, demons, bro, demons. And maybe it is, but maybe it's worse. Maybe they've figured out how to technologically do this. And I heard a guy speaking about it, a guy who actually has a channel called Targeted Individual, and I think I'm going to try to get him on the show for an interview because I'd be really curious to actually hear what someone from the community actually thinks. Give me the real story. Give me the meat and potatoes, because nobody will ever listen to you. If you say you think the earth's flat, they think you're the dumbest person who ever lived. I will never give them the time of day. You know, and it's like, dude, we gotta ask this guy who knows more than I do from a cursory search, what's going on here, you know? And so I hope to get him on there. But one of the things he was talking about was the concept of telepathy, and how the ability to send audio into your brain remotely via technology is real and does exist. And just look at the Elon Musk Neuralink. We're really like there in the mainstream. And like what I spoke about last week, that they're always many decades ahead of us in actual technological advancement. If we're just now getting Neuralink, they've had brain chips for decades. They've had the ability to manually, technologically translate radio frequency into your brain so you hear audio. And what is that if not technologically motivated, technologically enabled telepathy? And we were just joking about this recently, like, well, what if in the old world there was no language? What if the whole Tower of Babel was the beginning of spoken language and people just communicated with telepathy, and then God confused the languages and everyone's now babbling Tower of Babel because you now make noise out of your mouth because you can't hear anyone anymore in your brain? Crazy, dude. Totally possible. And it tells me that God took away people's ability to communicate telepathically, and they built technology, right? Jenny Murphy, fallen angel technology, in order to replicate the effect. But they're not doing it so that we can all build good buildings and stuff. They're doing it so that they can fry your mind. They're doing it so they can make you go crazy thinking you hear stuff, and then you like go insane. It's like they wear you down, right? Most people would argue that the reason why the gang stalking and the radioactive attacks and the voices and whatever they're doing, I don't hear any voices, okay? I'm not saying I hear voices. But there are people who think that the reason why they do it is not to kill you. Although Bill Cooper, being as advanced in his understandings and as effective as a speaker and someone who could reach people through his voice and books, he posed a threat to the control scheme. Do you not pose a threat? As firstly, a follower of Christ, which is big. But secondly, think about stuff like if they lied about the shape of the world and you know that, that's a problem. If you know about the stolen history, like this millennial reign of Christ that's mostly just not a thing, like what we call the little season, if all that's real, you are targeted, bro. You are on a list, my man. Like, how could you not be on the list? That's crazy. Hey, take it easy, Naomi. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. So here's the idea, right? People have different examples of what they claim is some sort of deployment of this targeted individual life in action, where they're being stalked by people. There are all kinds of forums where people talk about the kinds of vehicles they drive, or like people are saying in the chat, like tinnitus, like you hear ringing in your ears, or it could be like disorientation, equilibrium distortions, and even stuff like straight up spying on you. And I'll give you guys an example that I experienced as a real life example, that if I told you without having this whole conversation, you guys would think I was crazy and full of crap. But here's the story. So I have this car, and it has like really specific parts that go on it, and if you search for parts for the car on your Google account, you'll get more ads for more car parts, right? It's just one of those things that it does. But what happens is my computer and my phone, the regular devices I use every day, are all signed in on this Cult of Con thing. But the computer that I use here for streaming is not signed in. So there's no Google account connected to the Chrome. It does not actually know it's me, except I'm signed in on YouTube, which I guess maybe that does it. But what that tells me is that it's bypassing, right? I'm not signed in on Google. It shouldn't be accessing my Google search information just because I'm signed in on YouTube on one tab. So what's going on is it's just accessing the information because it's a giant hive mind of fiber optic cables housing in some warehouse somewhere, and there's all this stuff going on. And so what I'm getting at is it shows me advertisements for these car parts, and it shouldn't know that I have the car or that I need said parts or that I've even been searching for them. There's no explanation in the world for it. In fact, even if I there's this soundboard website, here we go, check it out, Pelican Parts. It's happening live right now. Not this one, not this one, not that one. Okay? Not that, not that, not that. No, 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 yes. You see these hoses? This hose kit is specifically for the car that I have. Now, how do they know? Sure, it's in a display with a bunch of other things, but you should see it when it's down here at the bottom of the screen. We've got nutrition for gains. This website is really spammy with like ads and crap. So when you come on this page that I used for the soundboard for the honking sounds, it literally it's not going to do it now. Probably because I'm talking about it. I'm sure it's that intuitive, right? AI powered. At this point, nothing surprises me, okay? The point I'm trying to make is that there's been many times where I'm sitting here with you guys, streaming on this channel on the Wednesday night, and I'm looking at it as it's doing it to me right now. R129 vanity mirror. You know what I mean? It's like, how does it know that I need that? I've never even looked for that part, but I know that my driver's side vanity mirror is broken. Tell me I'm not insane. I'm gonna screen share again and scroll down so that you can see it. Did it go away? Dude, it went away. Although it is showing the correct oil and quantity and filter and gaskets. And we're getting real specific. We're starting to get close now. Oh, this is the transmission cable that's leaking. It's scary, dude. It knows stuff that I don't even know. Like, it knows stuff about my life that I didn't even look for. So it's like, how are you not crazy? Like, how could you not be crazy? And this is what happens. It's like you're gaslit. If you told people, yeah, they're spying on me, they know what car I own. It's not even registered in my name, and somehow they know I have it. What? You know what I mean? Mama Khan says, I picked up my new glasses about a month after I paid for them. I drove home, turned on a YouTube video, and the commercial immediately played for the brand of my new glasses. That is so crazy. Crypto Grady says, don't forget to like the video, everyone. Hey, good to see you, brother. It's good to see you here. And same with you, Patrick Stoll. Good to have you. Patrick Stoll says, I got several emails advertising those yellow tinted glasses that you have just because I thought about them. I never even said it out loud. Bro, you're right. It happens when you think about it, dude. That's the thing that really gets crazy. You know, we always talked about in the last 15, 10 years where people were saying stuff to each other. You go to your friend's house and you're like, yeah, well, my girlfriend's da-da-da. She's trying to get one of those little cat house things or whatever. And then the homie's phone gets ads for the thing. Right? But we could chalk it up to well, it listened, it heard you say it. But you guys know there are examples where it heard you and you didn't say it. You just thought it. You were like, I wonder if I should get one of those, whatever. Maybe some other time. And then it shows an ad and you're like, oh my gosh, there it is. well, I guess I'll give in and impulse buy it. Like you just robot and do what they say. It's literally like last week's episode, thought control. Like they're doing stuff to you. And I would not be surprised if the gang stalking thing is not just another component to an actual surveillance apparatus that is literally running in real time. There's AI algorithms searching out what you say, what you read, who you listen to, who you follow. It's like even during the QAnon thing, it was like, be careful who you follow. Why? Why should I be careful who I follow? I can listen to whatever I want. Oh, shills. Liars and shills. Like, as if any 4chan conspiracy thing ever gave a crap about shills or who is or isn't one. Because you can't win. Anyone who disagrees with you is just, oh, you're a shill. Oh, you made too much money? Oh, you're a shill. Oh, you got 1,000 subs? You're a shill. Like, they'll find a way to call you a shill. Oh, you tried to rep your Patreon? Shill. So, it's not about convincing the people who are already convinced that they're being lied to. It's about convincing the masses that you are crazy because the things that you're privy to, that you have done the groundwork to figure out, are crazy. The reality of the conspiracy of the top-down network of archons and multidimensional Satanists and whatever, like Talmudic Jewish thing, whatever you want to call it, there's this like evil organization. And it's real, and we know it's real, and then people act like, well, it can't do anything, it's not. And of course, I'm not trying to diminish, I think Wendy made a good point where she was saying, like, she's tired of hearing everybody kind of act like, well, because it's Satan's little season, God can do nothing, we're all like at the whim of Satan. It's not that I think that, but here we are completely paralyzed by ignorance, that we don't realize what's really going on. And the real narcissists, not the people who are crazed and tortured, who people call a narcissist because you just think you're so important that they would target you. I'm not going to listen to you. You're a narcissist. No, the real narcissists are the people who work for these agencies, the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell style spooks who go around stalking people. Everywhere from like the highest echelons of the highest people, you got, like some real high level operators stalking high level dangerous people. It's like Osama bin Laden, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not Osama bin Laden. So I probably have, my feds are probably like losers. Like the couple of feds assigned to you and me, they're probably no one special because you haven't done anything great yet. Okay? And I'm not saying that you won't. That's the other issue, right? That's where you get this whole chosen ones ideology where these people assume that the demons, the enemy, Satan is stalking them because they will one day do something. And you might. You can't just completely write it off. It's possible that God chose you for something. Wow, imagine that. Fearfully and wonderfully made, deliberately and intentionally born into the world when you were. You are the age you are supposed to be today. You are listening to this podcast as the person that God wanted you to be at this time in your life as you're hearing this. That doesn't mean I have anything to do with it. But you are exactly where God wants you to be, just like all of us are, even if we don't like it per se. So it's not an issue of God being in control. It's an issue of an enemy trying to get you to use your authority to destroy yourself and your own life, alienate yourself from everybody, destroy your own future and your own potential by going crazy, by snapping, by quitting, by just whatever, dude. It's about wearing down the saints. That's what it's really about. It's about finding people who are not sheep. They're picking out the black sheep from the crowd, and they're locking you in a barn with a bunch of torture tools to drive you insane. Because if you were to infect the rest of the herd with this disease of consciousness that you possess, it would be a problem. And the reason why the targeting is minimal for someone like you or me, the reason why the light just turns red every time, like it gets to the point where it's like, dude, am I crazy? Or is it just like, I'm seeing it, it just turned green, but no, dude. Nope. Oh, nope. It turned red. And I've gotten to the point where it's like, I know the light's going to turn red. I'm just going to slow down because it's going to be red before I get there. Oh, yep, it is. It's red. Oh, it gets better. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just that every light is red. Weird things happen. Like, oh, you're driving down the road and an old lady just appears out of nowhere and pulls out in front of you. Okay. Yeah, it's just an old lady. You're crazy. No, dude, this thing gets to the point where if you know it, you know it. It gets to the point where you can joke about it, and I do. I think that's the key point, is that if something was fake, you would take it really seriously. Because you'd be like, I got to make sure everyone believes me so they'll buy my book or sympathize with me or whatever it is. They'll give me the attention I want because I'll try so hard to convince everybody that I'm a victim of the government spying on me because I'm the future king of England and they know it or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like my brother jokes about it all the time. He's like, well, I'm the future king of England, of course. And like, that's the point, right? We joke about it. Because it's like, how do you cope with it when there's constant reiteration of the idea that not that you're special, not that you're the chosen one, not that you're the only person targeted, but that it's highly possible, nay, it's probable that with the budget they have today, that there is a massive multinational espionage apparatus that's operating, and that the people are subjected to. Oh, my chat was frozen here. Sorry, guys. The people are subjected to routine targeting and even torture in order to wear you down or to drive you mad. And you can think of examples all the way from Bill Cooper dead to people who get microwave. Like, you guys know about Havana syndrome? You guys remember that one? All these people came back with like scrambled brains, also known as anomalous health incidents. Is a disputed medical condition. U.S. and Canadian government officials and their families reported symptoms of anomalous health incidents in about a dozen overseas locations. Reported symptoms include a sudden onset associated with perceived localized loud sound of chronic symptoms that lasted for months, such as disabling cognitive problems. Oh, am I on the wrong page here? What's going on? Oh, I am on the wrong page. Here, try this. I'm just like looking at some random stuff. My bad, guys. Let's try this. All right, trying again. Sorry about that. So these people showed up in 2016 saying they and their families perceived loud sounds and had chronic symptoms that caused cognitive problems, balance, dizziness, insomnia, headaches. It's not recognized as a disease by the medical community. But there have been legitimate people, like there's actually lots of cases. And they're even investigating it because they don't know what it is. The Hotel Nacional in Havana is one of the locations where the syndrome was recorded, or reported, I guess. I can't even read right now. It's been a long day. I forget to mention that it's Wednesday, hump day. I hope you guys are doing good. We got 2 days left. We're almost there. But man, I mean, this is them targeting. They're targeting these individuals, these U.S. and Canadian government officials and their families who reported symptoms that go hand in hand with they're all schizophrenic, I guess. I guess they're all, them and their whole family, equally schizophrenic because they don't know. The eyes for truth. Aaron, what's up, my man? Says smash the like button, smash it like you're under surveillance because you are. That is so crazy, man. But think about it, right? Oh, we got Doctor Who. What's up, my friend? What's the crazy man on about today? Targeted individuals and gang stalking and V2K. Another thing about that V2K, it's almost the same as Y2K. Like, is there like a whole alphabet of 2Ks that they released on us in 2K? I'm not even kidding. Is there like a B2K, C2K, J2K? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the whole idea, right? Y2K. Oh, the technology, all this new technology is going to turn on, it's going to break, and nothing will roll over. And it's the thing. And then what happened was they installed like the ultimate update, like the server updated in year 2000 for the new surveillance apparatus where they're spying on everybody. And everybody wonders, right? Like, what's the point of the gang stalking? It's because people are, according to the definitions I read from people who experience it, they have determined that the purpose of it is that most people involved are being subjected to experimentation of advanced technologies without their consent. Because if you knew that you were being targeted, the what you would call it, the placebo could affect the actual results of this case study. So like they're vaporizing your brain cells with a ray gun, and they want to find out if you, like, how you react. Like, what do these people do when they start hearing voices in their head? Because like, imagine you were totally sane. Imagine you weren't actually demonically oppressed or possessed. And let's imagine that wasn't even it. And that you also weren't schizophrenic. You weren't crazy. If you were living your life and all of a sudden you started hearing voices as God is your witness, I hear them, you know? Like, if you were dealing with that, you would be insane. People would not believe you. No one would ever think you were... And if they did, they would be like, oh, well, that's because I've been diagnosed with schizophrenia. And, like, I hear the voices. Oh, we talk about things. Okay. That ain't natural, dude. Something ain't right. Sean says, I call them demon stalkers. That's basically what it is. It's demons, bro. Freya says 1999 Matrix, Y2K, 9/11, Patriot Act, 2012, 2016. You know what? 2008, Barack Obama. 2012, the end of the world. 2016, Donald Trump. 2020, COVID. 25, Stargate, AI. Been boiling this frog for a while, but think about how far we've come now. Not just as people who are determining that this kind of stuff actually is real and crazy. But not just that it's real and crazy, but that like they're actually moving forward. Like the agendas are happening. There's funding. Like Trump just passed this bill for the Palantir, and they're gonna have a giant storage network for everybody's data. What is that? What data? Why do you need storage networks for all of our data? What data are you storing? Well, it's everything, right? It's biometric data. We've talked about this before. They have your heart rate. They have your BPM. They have your stimuli. They can read your brain activity remotely. That's what that is, that remote surveillance. It's not that they can read your mind. It's that they can read what your mind is off-putting. So if you were to just think consciously about something, and according to what they say, this is it. Like if you imagine the Pink Panther, that's what this guy was saying. You close your eyes and you imagine the Pink Panther. They can see what your brain is visualizing because your brain is releasing waves of light energy. And that's the thing I think that really sold it for me, right? And I really hope I get the chance to talk to the targeted individual himself. Yeah, because he has this whole discussion that he has about how the world is made of energy, frequency, and vibration. Sounds real familiar to this community, right? And he's talking about all of this just has to do with the manipulation of light and waves. And your brain is functioning on an energy grid. Like there's an electrical program that is creating these synapses. They can trace it. They can do a CT scan and trace it. They can see what's going on in your brain. They can find out if you're brain dead, so to speak, from like a severe injury. So if they can lay you down in a bed and hook you up to a brain machine, a CT scan, and check to make sure that, MRI or whatever, make sure that it's physically okay, they can study the brainwave activity. So who's to say they haven't by now invented what could easily be like we used to have those like dial phones where it's like, and you like pick up a phone and you're like, hello? You know what I mean? Like those old world phones, and now everybody's got a phone that fits in their pocket, and it's a map, it's GPS, and it's a video camera, and it's like, we have really ramped up the technological capacity. We just talked about last week Google Maps in 1969 on a submarine, remote U.S. nuclear submarine floating somewhere in the Pacific. Like the fact that that's a possibility, who's to say that this isn't? That they don't have the ability to read your brain and input, like programs, like how much of your own thoughts are even yours? You know what I mean? Like how much of what you think about the world and you had a bad day today, and tell me it's not combined. You ever have a day where YouTube just shows you nothing but bad days, dash cam videos, people like committing crimes on other people and people getting ripped off by RV companies, and like just you'll know it. Wake up one morning with a bad day and see if it shows you a bunch of good positive stuff on YouTube. See if it like recommends that you view some nice wholesome Christian content, or see if it instead recommends all kinds of dark and hopeless bullshit. Just pay attention, right? Become aware of it. And I wonder if you can't fight it by being aware. Like if you know, now this is the onset of bad ideas or some kind of satanic tinnitus or something. Like we have to pray against the wiles of the devil. Like Jesus is very clear that that's the thing, like that the enemy is going to try to get us, so you got to pray against them. So what is that? Mama Khan says, what's next? Minority Report IRL. Is this another one? Let's go. I love when we get another one. Check it out. Cyberpunk action film directed by Spielberg. I should have seen this. I probably have, but I have no memory of it. It takes place in the Washington metropolitan area, that'd be D.C. In 2054, a specialized police department pre-crime apprehends criminals by the use of foreknowledge provided by three psychics called precogs. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what's happened is the precogs have determined that you have committed a thought crime and they will now be tracking you. Good one, mama. That is exactly what I'm talking about. It isn't to say that you actually surmised. It's like, how did you miss this one? Because I don't know. It escaped me, but it's perfect, right? Good thing my mama's there. She's got my back. All right. So thought police, and not just like, okay, obviously we're talking about in this movie, it's like you were planning a robbery and you had it figured out and they read your mind and knew that you were planning a robbery. It's worse than that. Imagine the crime is to believe in God, to believe in Jesus. Imagine that in fact, I saw this study one time, and this is always how it works. Stuff comes to me and I didn't plan to share it, but there was this study done a long time ago about the presence of the Holy Spirit in people's brain scans. And the stimulation from people reading the Bible. Like, people read the Bible and their brain does stuff that's different than reading other books. Do you know that? I gotta find this. I'm sure it's been scrubbed from the internet. Plus, now that I brought it up, the gang stalkers who have been listening to me will surely scrub the internet. But just imagine, right, that someone did this experiment, since I can't probably prove it, but they were able to show a difference in the brainwave activity of people reading the Bible versus normal books. And it was one of those things that was like, it proves God. And then everybody was mad, so they shoved it under the rug. Yes, the VMAT2 gene. Back in the day, they used people to surveil. Now they have people and tech everywhere. Val's right. It's like how in the first example I gave, the eagle eye, they can tap into the surveillance systems, the closed circuits. It doesn't matter. They're not really closed. They all project. Most cameras nowadays are wireless, right? They all connect to a hub. That hub is not secure, or at least they have access to the master codes. Like, there's no, it's like, I was talking to Wendy about this the other day, like cars, right? You drive your car. Every vehicle equipped with OBD2 can be essentially read, like you can read off of the sensors and the fuel, and like you can learn a lot about a car nowadays by plugging in an OBD2 port reader. But what's crazy is that most cars in the modern age have become completely electric, and you guys know this is kind of like, and I don't just mean electric power, even gas engine cars, the power steering is electric assist, the throttle is electronic input. It's not even really a cable anymore like an old car. So if you drive a modern car, you can be basically spied on by your own car. That's the crazy thing about it. Where is it going? How long was it running for? Where did it stop? It's of course equipped with GPS. Most cars today have a navigation system subscription service that you can buy. Even if you haven't activated it, the diodes are in there. The system is there. You know what I mean? So it's there, it's tracking you. And then the fact that it's electric means that an electric impulse tells a computer to turn your steering wheel. Who's to say that some of the people you've heard of, like, I'm not going to say that I really believe it, but like, let's say Paul Walker, maybe he knew too much. And then they just steered his car. They floored his car and steered it into a wall. This happened not that long ago, right? Remember that news reporter lady? And she supposedly crashed her car into like Ellen DeGeneres' house. Or was it? It wasn't Ellen DeGeneres' house, but it was Ellen DeGeneres' ex-girlfriend. She like crashed a car into a house, and then the fire department like took her out of the car, and she like sat up and tried to escape and like zipped her in a body bag. You guys, it's crazy out here. Crypto Grady says, I bet Paul Walker's still alive. I think Paul Walker is probably still alive, because when they do it with Hollywood celebrities and stuff, it's meant to sell products. Everyone felt so bad. Like, we come a long way without you, my friend. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. You know what I'm talking about? they make you feel bad. It's like they try to make you feel bad. So you're like, man, I miss family. And Dominic always told us that it was about family. And now Paul's dead. I gotta see Fast and the Furious 47 or whatever it is. I guess Fast 45. You know, since we're talking about singing, I've been joking about and considering doing the Cult of Karaoke live show, where I give you guys a list of, you know, karaoke stuff, like, you know, ideas, songs, and you guys vote for your favorite songs, and we do like a karaoke live stream. I'll like put reverb on the mic. I'll make it sound all good, like it's in concert. How fun would that be? Not only would that be fun, but we could probably get other people to come on and sing too. I would love doing that. I'm going to create a poll I'm gonna make it on the channel right now, and it's going to be yes. Okay, let's say cult of karaoke question mark, yes or no. I think that's the simplest poll of all time. The poll is now live on the channel here. So cult of karaoke, yes or no? Go on over there, let me know what you think. Shoot. I can't sing "The Dog I Don't Own Will Howl." You guys are great. I've just posted it, so you probably have to go to the section called posts on the channel, which is basically like, oh shoot, I also have this, I have this wrong tab up that's not helping everybody. This is not gonna, oh, okay, here we go. So like if you're on the channel, posts, and it will be right here. We've already got votes. It's looking good. Oh, don't think I'm going to miss the chance to hit like on that bad boy. Let's go. Cult of Karaoke rebrands the whole channel. It's a karaoke channel now. Sell out. Yeah. Let's go. Sean says, and they stole my video, but I'm still getting updates. More likes. Let's go. Click on my face. What happens if I do that? Nothing. Oh, we can go to your channel. Oh, I don't want it to play any music because I get copyright hits on that immediately. One note plays and they're like, copyright, delete your whole stream. Yeah, shout out to Sean. Is it Crowell or Crowell? Crowell? Crowella. Cruella Devil. Cruella Devil. Yeah, thanks for being here, brother. I appreciate you, man. Jay Verkamp says, Michael Hastings was writing some deep stories exposing some military generals, etc. They wanted him dead. There's stuff that I do not know. I'm not following it, but I'm sure it's hilarious. I see stuff about tiny hat people stuff. Hey, Dad, did you hear about the latest little hat people stuff? Oh, man. Rejoice Artwork says, and we should sing hymns together on Sundays. Yo, that would be so cool. Like if we actually had a worship section. Yo, guys, we might be onto something here. Bruce says, can you wear a baseball style hat sideways for an entire podcast? Yeah, we'll do it. I'll put a visor on upside down like Will Smith in the 90s. And be like, in West Philadelphia, born and raised. Everybody, y'all are great. So here's the thing. I don't know if we're actually being gang stalked. I don't know if anybody is. I think that you could argue that, like, Paul talked about it at one point in recent times, and I think that he was kind of basically explaining that, like, there are people stalking him, right? Like weirdos who are against the little season and stuff, and Paul is kind of being seen as, like, the de facto leader of the movement, even though I know he's trying to get away from it just because of the BS that's going on, just totally reasonable, and I'm in no way judging, but, like, the whole idea that there's these like Reddit groups with people like who are stalking you and everything, you put out a video and then people all make videos about your video and like talking crap, and it's like that for some people like Paul and other people, especially in controversial circles, that is a reality. And like it doesn't even have to be an organization. It's like you can become a targeted individual because you pissed off a demographic of people that don't like you and they've got a bone to pick and they're gonna follow you and try to drive you into oblivion. Like if that's the case, I mean, isn't that itself a perfect example of being a targeted individual? I think there's severities to it, right? You have people who are targeted by organizations and individuals that they don't like. They, the individual, are targeted by other individuals. And then I think it goes even farther to where if you're on the internet running your mouth, talking about being in a cult, talking about the world should be run by Christians, like, you know what I mean? Like, well, we should simply take control of all systems, all governments, all entertainment, media, and corporate, and we should run them all with Christians instead of Satanists. Now, like, if you say that stuff, good luck. Like, everyone's like, oh, well, that got you on the list. Like, yes. If you say stuff like, you know, I don't want to address it fully in the 9 minutes we have left here, but there was this whole diatribe that I went on at one point about how torn up everyone is with the like red-blue dichotomy and how it extends to like the nation of Israel, and it's you're either with Israel or you're against Israel. Like, they try to put their own ultimatum on it like that, to where you can't just recognize the good and bad of people's behavior. You're not allowed to. You must pick a side. And that to me it's par for the course in BS, and that's exactly what I'm getting at. If you talk about stuff that unravels the deception that they're creating, you become a target because you are working against a system that, let's not forget, is much larger, much richer, more well-funded, more technologically advanced. They've got more staff. They probably got more staff in the NSA than the Cult of Khan. You know what I mean? So, you know, you think to yourself, well, like, I can't believe that I'm being gang stalked. That makes me a narcissist. And it's like, no, there's narcissists getting paid to gang stalk you. And even if it comes down to a simple thing that, like, oh, you know, my Fed. We joke about it. Even the internet jokes about it. Why? Why does the internet have memes talking about my Fed? And then, like, you get a text message, you were like searching up something you weren't supposed to search, and then a text comes in from your Fed and be like, hey, what are you looking at? What are you doing? What is that? Like, what are you doing? I don't know, like, you're Fed. You're like playing, there's the great examples of it where you like played through the final, the chapter in Gears of War where Dom Santiago gives his life and he sacrifices his life. Spoiler alert, sorry. 2011 spoiler alert or whatever it is. Dom dies in Gears of War 2, I think, and then your Fed is like, just sends you a cry face emoji because he understands. Like, he knows when Dom gave his life, dude, I know I'm not supposed to be like sending you texts and telling you that I'm spying on you, but dude, I watched you play through that game and like I really felt it today, man. Take care, Elizabeth. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. Gang stalk these nuts. Pepe. Man, you guys are great. My Fed got to be cool. I bet he got stories to tell. Hey, you're right. You're definitely right. They've all got something good to tell. They've all got a story to tell because of all the crazy stuff they've seen us doing and saying here on the cutting edge of conspiracy content. I expect there to be a follow-up to this. I kind of imagine that most of the things we've touched on the show, I will come back to in the future and do even more of a deep dive on it. And when it comes to like, targeted individuals, gang stalkers, maybe it really is not just about what you know, but who you know. You know, perhaps you watched one too many videos from a crazed Kool-Aid Sprite drinking conspiracy. Kool-Aid and Sprite, right? You mix juice with Sprite and you get like an even more rich and delicious beverage. And then you add a little bit of arsenic and rat poison, and then you get ready to enjoy the Galactic Federation. Yeah. That'll be one of those clips that they play after my downfall. They'll be like, he was always crazed. He recommended Sprite, Kool-Aid, and poison. There's no MSG, let's go. GMO. Yeah, MSG is great, dude. I think they call it the essence of flavor. So, David, sprinkle in some meth for good measures. You're gonna need meth to match my energy. Ah! Hey, they got grape Kool-Aid, Pepe. They've got it. Let me hit that horn for you, Elizabeth. We're always glad to have you here. There we go. It seemed like it was kind of a delayed reaction. Wow. Guys, it's been good. It's been a good Wednesday, if you ask me. I didn't feel like we got too far in the weeds today. I think we might be able to actually just keep this one up. I don't know. I said some stuff about some Jewish stuff, I think, but I didn't target anybody. Tonight, the target was pointed at me. Because I just might know too much. You might know too much as well. Be careful out there. Grape drink, homie. They definitely have grape Kool-Aid. I don't know what grape's gonna do mixed with Sprite, but he was a crazed right-wing cult leader talking about Tartaria, Phoenix. He must be stopped. Tartarians are okay. What? Great Wednesday. I got home in just enough time to catch a live. Thank you for your fellowship, Cult of Cons, as Val. Guys, you're great. It's always awesome to come here. I always look forward to Wednesday nights, getting a chance to hang out with you guys, talk about all kinds of crazy, weird stuff. That's just what we do around here. This is the cutting edge of conspiracy content made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. Thank you for being here. Y'all, it's good. I think we can wrap it here, right? You guys, this has been another episode, level 45 of the Main Character Podcast, made possible by the Cult of Con. That's you guys. I am Con Man, and thank you for being here, and we will see you guys next week for another episode when we come back for level 46. Don't forget to go over to that main page of the channel and vote on the poll if you'd like to see us hit up the Cult of Karaoke for level 46. Let's go. All right, y'all. Have a great night. Take it easy. God bless you. Mentality got some Kool-Aid you can drink. It's a scam, it's a plan, it's a con, and I'm your man. You know I tell it like it is. I hold the secrets in my hands. Reflection and introspection is my profession. I'm recklessly disrespecting what you expect and investing at my discretion. Teaching the lessons, impressions to keep you guessing what I do next, man.
Now when the 1,000 years have expired, Satan will be released from his prison. He will go forth to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together for the final battle, an army whose number is as the sand of the sea.
It's amazing the affirmations that come my way when I fake it until I make it. The truth is waiting, complacent organizations. They say I'm racist, they hate and they making payments on my vacation. I'm the man, I'm the king, I'm rejecting what you think. Rearranging your mentality, got some Kool-Aid you can drink. It's a scam, it's a plan, it's a con, and I'm your man. You know I tell it like it is. I hold the secrets in my hands.